This video we are looking at inequalities. Okay, this is where you realize, or no, we are not equal, but it's fine, we are not there. Okay, first example, we have x squared minus 3x is less than 4. Okay, that is the inequality that we have. Just like when we were solving the problems where we had the equality sign, the equal sign, the first thing we do is to move this constant. Okay, there appears the problems that we did. The first thing we do is to move this 4 to the left. So we're going to have x squared minus 3x minus 4 is less than 0. Now that we are here, we just need to still factorize. I'm sure you can see this is basically the similar or the same. It's actually similar if we use the right English terms problem to the one that we started with. Okay, so we are here, the factors will be the same as those that we started with. So you can still use the quadratic formula from the middle step here to find these factors if you forgot, or you can just go back to your notes and then you'll be fine. That's assuming you were part of the first video. Okay, from here we need to identify what they call critical points. Okay, basically this topic you just learn by doing examples. There's nothing much to learn when it comes to the theory. That's why I just get straight to the examples, and then you can then go ahead and do the exam problems. Then you should be fine, because the idea is just to apply methods that have already been established for us to solve these problems. We don't need to question them unless we are trying to be mathematicians. And at this point, I'm not trying to be a mathematician, so I'm just going to present what is happening. So the critical points are basically those x values that you will solve for when you have this with the equality sign there, when you have this step with the equality sign. So this is basically x equals to -1, and or you can put or, that's what we usually do, or x equals to 4. Okay, so from there, now to get the solution, we just need to draw this number line. Okay, and put these critical points on the number line. Okay, let me deactivate that. The critical points is -1 and 4. So on the number line, you are aware that the negative values or the smaller values will have to be on the left hand side of the bigger values. So that's exactly what you do. Then put those smaller circles in there. You don't shade these circles if the inequality sign is just less or greater. But if there's less or equals to, or maybe greater or equal to, that's when you shade these things. But in this case, we don't shade them. Okay, and the next thing that we do now is that we need to just pick values between here, and then we also need to pick values maybe after this 4 and even before the -1 there. Any value that you can think of. Let's start from the left. We start with a value which is less than -1. That could be -2, -10. Let's take -2 and not be extreme in this case. We're going to take that -2, we substitute it here and here, right, for this product, and then we try to evaluate the answer, and then we check the sign of that answer. Is it positive or negative? That answer, let me just quickly do it. We're gonna put -2 there. -2 plus 1. We open the brackets, then we put, basically when you substitute, this is what you need to do. -2 like that, plus 1, and then you put -2 again, -4, just like that, and then you tell us what the answer is. Okay, so the answer is positive 6. So you just consider the sign, that's what we need there. Okay, and again now you're going to look at the value which is between -1 and 4 and +4 like that, and then you're going to substitute it here. +2 is already between those two, so you can just put +2 there, +2 there, and then tell us what the answer it is that you get, or what answer it is that you get. Hey, whatever it is, guys, I hope you can hear what I'm saying. You get -6. So this means we are interested in the sign, which is that negative there. That means any value that you substitute which is between -1 and 4, it will give you a negative answer. Okay, And now we look at a value which is greater than 4. What value is it that is greater than 4? We can just talk about 5. Any value that you would have chosen would have been fine, but in this case I'm not trying to be extreme. I'm just gonna take 5. Okay, I'm gonna substitute that 5 there, and then I see I get a positive 6. So I'm interested in the sign. That's the sign that I'm gonna bring here. Okay, now to write the final answer. The final answer would be, because here we have less than, as you can see, less than means negative, less than 0 means negative, less than 0 means negative. Okay, so we are interested in this negative region, so we just need to write this in inequality form, the final answer. That means our x will have to be between okay, there's no less or equals to, would actually have to be between 4 and negative 1 for this equation to be, or this inequality to be valid, because any value of x which is between negative 1 and 4 will give us a product of this which is negative. The answer is going to be negative. It's going to be less than 0. I hope that makes sense. So we just needed to identify the region of x where this product is actually negative, and that region is between negative 1 and 4. Okay, that's basically the simplest way to explain this. If you are looking for something complicated, that is usually where you will get frustrated about this topic, because there's really nothing complicated. There's just another way of writing what I just wrote here. It is not something complicated, it's just another way of writing the same thing. So you just have to know about it, because sometimes it works in your favor to know more than you should. Okay, the other way to represent the same thing is to say x is actually greater than negative 1, or x is less than negative 4. You can, this is basically saying the same thing. As you can see, x is greater than negative 1, and x is less than what? Negative 4. Some would write the same thing as this in this way of saying negative, would they say negative, or what do they say? Remember, this is not my idea, so I need to be clear. Negative 1 is less than x, and okay, I was supposed to actually put end there. Yeah, but the right end in full. Let me preach what do they say, those pastors? Preach what you say. Yeah, whatever they were saying, guys. Okay, do as you preach, something along those lines. But yeah, so suppose some would actually write it like this in full. Okay, negative 1 is less than x. This here, negative 1 is less than x. I don't know if that makes that much sense, but that's how they would usually write it. Negative 1 is less than x, and x is less than negative 4. Looking at it, I'm like, what are these guys trying to say? Really? Are they serious? But yeah, that's usually how some would write it. This for me doesn't make that much sense when I try to analyze it. Why would you write that? Hi guys, if you choose that, I'm not the one who taught you, but this is what makes sense to me. This one, I'm just skeptical to dismiss it, because I'm not sure what they are trying to say, but it doesn't make sense. If it makes sense to you, tell us in the comment section, and then we will follow maybe. And the other way also to write the same thing is to just tell us that x is an element of from negative 1 all the way to 4, right? That's basically But when you use square brackets like this, now it shows that you are including -1 and 4. But in our situation, we are actually not supposed to include them. So we are going to write it like this. Okay? That means we are excluding -1 as well as 4, but we are looking at between -1 and 4. That's another way of writing the same thing as that. Okay? As for this, like I said, and these, not the one who taught you. Okay, let's look at another example. B, suppose you have a situation like what? Like this: x squared minus 3x is less or equal to 4. It's basically the same problem, but we're just putting an equal sign there. So we're gonna be quick on this one. So this one is just as, okay, let me do things properly with the right ink. We're just gonna move this 4 to this side, and then we have 0. The factors, we still know the factors: x minus 4 less or equals to 0. Then the critical points, still the same. It's actually x equals to -1 or x equals to +4. So the same number line, which is now this is where you shade this to show that you are including these critical points, which is -1 as well as 4. And then you will do the same exercise of substituting values which are between this side as well as that side, and then you would realize that you still get the same signs, positive, positive. And then now to represent your solution, you just need to tell us that a situation, or rather a region or a range of x where this equation or this inequality is true, it's whereby x is between, or it's from -1 to 4. You can write it like this, or you can write it as x is greater or equals to -1 and x is less or equals to 4. This is just another way of writing the same thing again. And then we have this way. The third way of writing the same thing is just to tell us that x is an element of this is where you use the square brackets from -1 to 4 inclusive, like that, by using the square brackets. That's basically it for this video. We are trying to keep life simple, so these videos have to be short. We look at more examples in part 2 of these inequalities, and then we keep it moving. I hope you kind of have an idea of what's going on at this stage.